We got the shop boss over here watching us. So yesterday was Huntsville. There was a demolition derby in Collingwood. It was like 30 minutes from my house. Unfortunately, they have a rule where Camrys cannot run. So we could not go to the show that was 30 minutes from our house. So we drove 2 hours to Huntsville. This is the second year of Huntsville having a demolition derby. So with Huntsville having their second demolition derby, I kind of knew that it was going to be new to it. So last year they had sand and blocks. Sand and logs. This year they had sand and blocks. Track conditions were not ideal. The figure eight guys were digging holes. The rear wheel drives were the first ones to go, and they dug big holes. I'm going to say that 70% of the cars that got stopped at Huntsville were from track conditions and not from actually braking. But saying that, I actually talked to the fair board. It is ran by Edge Motorsports, so the fair lady was asking a lot of the drivers what we thought of her show. So I talked to her and said, listen, it's a great show. The car count was amazing for how north you are, but you need to get the track fixed and maybe more vehicles to help get some of the cars out. So I said maybe 2 more skid steers for next year, and you got to fix the track. But you have the potential to be a great show in a very busy time of the year. And she was very thankful for her impact. So sorry for her. I was very happy to be acknowledged as a driver, is what I thought, and I felt like my opinion mattered. And I think that's what the real difference is that if the promoter or the fair board is willing to listen to your complaints and go from there. This car here last year ran at a show called Aaron, and I don't think I'm going to be going back to Aaron, because when I expressed my opinions to the fair board director, because they were lifting cars over my Dodge in the parking lot and I was very unhappy, she was eating and she basically told me to go F myself and send an email in. And then when I sent an email, she ignored it, and when I tried calling to follow up on my email, she ignored it. So that is the difference between a show that makes me want to come back and a show that doesn't really give a shit about the drivers. So was the 2-hour drive north worth it this year? Track conditions, no. But the fact that I felt acknowledged as a driver and felt like my opinion actually mattered to somebody, yes. And I think that's kind of worth it. So let's talk about this car. So this car did us really good. It kind of sat extremely lopsided going in. We have a 15 on this side that's 27 inches tall, and we have a 14 on this side, which is 24 inches tall. So that helped us sit a little bit more level. Let's go around the car. We passed tech with no problems. The only thing that I forgot was Edge requires a door bar, but they let me go because they knew there was going to be not a lot of speed there. The fuse panel underneath the dash, when I went to go into the heat, was right against my brake pedal, and I didn't have anything to cut this as I was going in, so I just unplugged the fuse panel and threw it out. Because of my standalone harness, it seemed to work good. The back end really didn't move. Got a door ripped off, unfortunately, though. What did happen is I lost all the links to this side. You guys seen us try to fix them before we went there, and even though we fixed the one, it broke right off completely, and then we broke off the other 2. So this corner is going to need much, much more attention for next year. Because unfortunately, we do have to save this car for next year. The back end really didn't move. It's going to have to be like one of those like local shows like Dundalk that we don't really care to take this thing to, but it's still a half-decent car. But everything went pretty good. The thing that took us out that I'm a little worried about is the same thing that took us out in Schaumburg. Even though we won Schaumburg, we didn't have much time left. So in Schaumburg, we broke this fitting right here. So I replaced that with the correct, tighter fitting. Well, this year here in Huntsville, we broke this fitting. And everything is covered in ATF. And I thought it may have been engine oil, so I was going to keep going. But then when I realized, and I smelt it all over me because I was covered in it, that it was ATF, I was like, I'm done. Just let it go. So I turned it off. I got 4th. There's no sense to burn the transmission out of a car that's still good. So the frame really didn't bend any more than what it was before. It's got our 2 fix-it plates on it. We are allowed to do more, so maybe I might put more fix-it plates on it. I'm not sure. And we're allowed to put steel behind the struts, but we don't have anything behind there. But I wanted to kill this car, and I didn't kill it, so we are going to have to run it again next year. This Camry has now done Beaton, and then it went to Aaron, and then I went to Schaumburg, and then I went to Beaton, and then I went to Huntsville. And it's hurt. Like, guys, this thing is hurt, but it's still good. Maybe what I'll do is I'll try to
pull the back end out with the frame straightener next spring, maybe try to get me a little bit more stuff to do in the back of this thing. But as of right now, it is bad, and just gonna have to buy one transmission fitting and some more fluid in it, and she's good to go. But I want to, guys, point this out. This socket, it's loose on here, but you can't get it off. This socket got stuck on there when I was building this car to go to Huntsville, and it never came off. And then I derbied the car. In the heat, I ended up changing this tire and then just putting this socket back on with this lug nut, and then I went to the finals and ran this again, and it's still on there. That is a socket that likes to stick around and do its job. But this is the aftermath of Huntsville. The car really didn't change, unfortunately. I was doing good. I thought I was going to do much better than what I did, but the track conditions in the heat, I just got buried. And then in the finals, I was trying to stick to the solid ground around the edges, but with the transmission leaking, I was done. There was no way I was going to burn up this transmission and then call it a day. So hopefully it's still okay. Only time will tell. We're going to have to get a fitting and try to fix this and go from there. So thanks for watching, guys. The aftermath of this car is sad, but it's still alive, unfortunately. So we'll see you guys back here later on Zach's Workshop.